Hi, Jacobson Jets. I thought I would just come outside and do my next video from my front yard, show you a little bit about what's going on in my yard. Here is my pretty house. I'll turn that around. And all my dogs hanging out outside. They love to come outside, so I've been riding my bike. Come here, Nova. There's Cookie. Hi, Cookie. And walking the dogs every day and just hanging out. So, what I thought I would do was I would share a funny book today. One that I thought was quite hysterical. And tell you guys that I know that we just found out that school is going to be closed for the rest of just this school year. Don't worry about that. We're going to figure out some new and exciting ways to still teach you from afar. So, don't worry. Take a breath and relax. So, I have a very funny book for you today. It's called Walter the Farting Dog. I love this video. I can tell already it's going to be one of my favorites. So right here is our title page. And remember, our title page has on it the title, Walter the Farting Dog. It has a photograph usually, the author, and it also has the illustrator. And you can see that a lot of times the author and the illustrator go right around where that title is. And then at the very bottom it has the publisher who makes the book. Betty and Billy. Here they are with Walter. Betty and Billy brought Walter home from the dog pound. Nobody wanted him, said Billy. But we love him, said Betty. Well, he smells awful, said their mother. I think you better give him a bath. Mother walked in and said, he still smells awful. And that's when they got the first clue. The telltale bubbles in the water. He's probably just a little bit nervous, said Mother hopefully. His stomach must be upset. But Walter's stomach wasn't upset. Walter's stomach was just fine. He felt perfectly normal. He just farted a lot. He did it when he bathed. He did it when he played with Betty and Billy. And he did it when he walked around the house. He did it in the dining room. He did it in the kitchen. And he did it in his sleep. Come here, Nova. My dogs are walking around. Come here, Nova. Cookie. Come on. Good girls. That dog farts morning, noon, and night, said Father. He can't help it, Daddy, said Betty and Billy. They didn't mind Walter's farts. So what if he farts, Billy said to Betty, when they were alone in their room with Walter. Betty agreed. Walter agreed, too. He sat there looking innocently around, farting. Take him to the vet, said his father. So, what do you think? Do you think your dad would let you have a farting dog around? Your mom? Oh, Mr. Christ is coming home. Farting, said the vet. Come here, girls. Come here. Oh, you gotta hold the dogs while he's driving. Cookie. Come here. Nova. Come here. No. Come here. Okay. Cookie, come here. Nova, come here. All right, there we go. Farting, said the vet, or rectal flatulations, as we say in the medical profession, and prescribed a change in his diet. Well, here is Mr. Chris. He's home from work today. So, Mr. Chris, come on over.
Hi.
Mr. Chris, why don't you tell him what you've been doing, even though we're supposed to be home and by ourselves. Why are you having to still go to work? What do you
Because
do?
they deem me essential as far as keeping transportation moving.
So what kind of transportation do you work on?
On airplanes. Work for American Airlines.
Wow. So your airplanes they use now to help get food and medical supplies.
Food, cargo. Yeah.
And also nurses and doctors if they have to go anywhere else
Mm-hmm.
to help others. So thank you, Mr. Chris.
You're welcome.
There, let's get back to our book now. They gave Walter every kind of dog food. He farted. They tried him on cat food. They gave him hot dogs, hamburgers, and lettuce and tomato sandwiches. I think Mr. Chris really likes my book. They gave him fried chicken. They gave him rabbit food. They made him a vegetarian. And that means you don't eat any meat at all. No matter what that dog eats, he turns into farts, roared his father. Walter got the blame from everybody else's farts, too. If Uncle Irv let one slip, he just went and stood near Walter. Then all he had to say was, "Walter!" and everyone would look at poor Walter. He has to go back to the pound, said Father. No, Daddy, please, begged Billy and Billy. They don't send Walter away. He goes tomorrow, said his father. They pleaded, and Walter farted. It was all over. That night, Betty and Billy cried in their beds, and Walter looked at them unhappily. Oh, Walter, said Betty, you've got to stop farting. Because Father is going to send you back to the pound tomorrow, said Willie. Walter knew how serious the situation was. He'd never see Betty and Billy again. He resolved to hold in his farts forever. When Betty and Billy fell asleep, he walked down to the kitchen to see if there was anything around to eat. He managed to open up the cupboard door with his nose and found the 25-pound bag of low fart dog biscuits the vet had prescribed for him, which had made him fart even more. Even though he knew they made him fart more, he couldn't resist. He ate the entire bag. Very tasty, said Walter to himself. So, what do you predict is going to happen by the end of this book? Do you think they're going to give Walter back to the place that they got him from? Do you think that Mom and Dad are going to let Walter stay? Why don't you tell your Mom and Dad, what do you think is going to happen at the end of this book with Walter? And then he went and laid down on the sofa. A gigantic gas bubble began to build inside of him. This is going to be trouble, he said to himself nervously. He was afraid of what might happen if he let it go. He thought maybe the house would explode, so he kept it in. It wasn't easy. In fact, it was torture, but he had resolved never to fart again. His future depended on it, and he lay there with his tail wrapped tightly between his legs. He heard a noise at the window. I wonder what that could be. He watched it slowly open. A pair of burglars came through. They dropped silently into the kitchen. Watch out for the dog, said one of the burglars. He won't bite, said the other. He's a wimp. Walter might have bitten him, except he was so filled with gas that he couldn't even move. They tried a rag around his snout so he couldn't bark. Okay, whispered the first burglar, let's clear the place. They took everything they could get their hands on, and Walter wanted to stop them, but he was having unbearable gas pains. So he rolled on his back and waved his paws in the air. He gnashed his teeth. "We've got it all," said the second burglar. "Let's go." That's when Walter let it fly. It was the worst fart of his life. It made a tremendous noise and shot him across the room. A hideous cloud filled the air. The burglars clutched their throats, unable to breathe. Oh, my dogs went off again. "Cookie! Nova! Come on! Come! Here they come. Here they come running. Good job. Good job, girls. Come here." With tears in their eyes, they raced to the window. They raced for the window. They tried to grab their bag with all the valuables in it, but their arms were too weak. "Let's get out of here." Ah! Can you imagine what it smelled like in there? They jumped out the window and ran up the block, choking and gasping for air. Still blinded by Walter's attack, they stepped into the headlights of an approaching police car. "Hold it right there," said the policeman. When Father and Mother came down the next morning, they found the open window, and they saw the bag with their valuables in it, and Walter was sitting beside it. He still had the rag tied around his snout. You have to say he looked heroic. That means he looks like a hero. Somebody that saved the day. "He saved the silverware," cried Mother. "He saved the VCR," cried Father. "Good dog, Walter. You're our dog, even if you do fart all the time." And so the family learned to live with Walter, the hero dog. And that's the end of our tale. Now look at how they wrote this. That's the end of our tale. T-A-I-L. That means the tail, like the tail of a dog. But really, when you're saying the end of a tale, it's T-A-L-E, meaning the end of the story. Come here, girls. And look, here's a funny, silly picture at the end of the story. It says, "Walter's Wonder Park, 100% natural gas powered." So very funny. Very, very funny. So, what do you think? Did your idea become what was the real answer at the end of this story? Did what you think was going to happen really happen? I don't know. I hadn't thought about that. I thought that was a great ending to the story. Now, if you really like Walter the Farting Dog, there is a couple of more Walters after this one. So just look up Walter the Farting Dog online, and I'm sure you can find a few more stories that have to do with Walter the Farting Dog. Well, thanks so much for listening to my story and meeting my husband and saying hello to my dogs again. And I will see you guys again soon for my next video. But I want to say I miss you guys, and I cannot wait to see you as soon as I can. We're going to all get through this and be back and completely great, wonderful students. But thank you for everything that you're doing for your mom and dad and helping around the house and playing with your brothers and sisters. Have a good day. Bye.